Benvenuto! Welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. Today we're going to make mashed sweet potatoes. I decided to do a quick video about mashing sweet potatoes because it's a very simple procedure. It's kind of just like regular mashed potatoes, except we're going to use sweet potatoes with a couple little different steps. But really, I thought, well, Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and maybe if somebody that's a beginning cook happens to catch this, and maybe they're doing Thanksgiving dinner, or they're going to bring a dish to somebody else's house. This is just a quick, easy way to do sweet potatoes. Of course, I do a much more complicated souffled mashed sweet potatoes, which I'd certainly be happy to show you guys. If anybody wants to see that video, let us know. Okay, so this recipe is going to feed between 4 and 6. So of course, if you are going to do this for a big meal, you're going to take into account the number of people that you're going to have. But this is for between 4 to 6. So, of course, what do we need? Very first thing we need is sweet potatoes. All right, I've peeled them. But, of course, you're going to peel your sweet potatoes, all right? So, in total, I've got 3 pounds of peeled sweet potatoes. We're going to need 3 scallions or green onions, the tops, just the green tops, because we're going to actually throw that in right at the minute. We're not going to cook those, so we want the tops because it gives you the flavor, and those will soften up really quick in the hot sweet potatoes. We need some whole milk. Truth be told, this is half and half because it is Thanksgiving. So I'm using half and half. We need 2 tablespoons of melted butter. All right, and then we need some salt, pepper. I've got some granulated garlic there. And we're going to need some sea salt for our water while we're boiling our potatoes. So, believe it or not, those few little ingredients are going to turn into some delicious mashed sweet potatoes. Let's get cooking. Okay, so in this pot, I've already got most of my potatoes cut. I'm going to put in a nice couple tablespoons of sea salt. Now that might look like a lot of salt, but remember guys, a lot of that salt's going to be in the water, and we're going to drain that out, and we're not going to put a lot of salt in at the end. So anyway, I just wanted to go over quickly. So we got our nice peeled sweet potato. So I usually just cut it in half and then in half again. So really what you want is you want your cubes to be kind of about the same size so that they all cook relatively even. You don't have to measure it or do a scientific equation for it, but just you want them to kind of cook at the same time. Okay, so we got our water in our pot. You want enough water to kind of fill the pot by about 1 inch above your potatoes. All right, so now keep in mind this is cold water. You want to start from cold water. So we're going to put this on high, and we're going to bring that to a boil. All right, and then once it boils, we're going to turn it down to a really high simmer, just under the boil, and we're going to let them continue to cook like that. So with the green onions, guys, I just take them, and you don't have to be fancy with them. Just give them a rough chop. And I'm going to just put them over off to the side for now because we don't need those till a little later. And that's all there is to it. All right, we'll be back when that comes to a boil. I just wanted to see you boil it, as what you guys, that it's boiling at the rapid boil that I want it, and then we'll turn it down. Be back as soon as our water boils. And you know, a watch pot never boils, so we'll be back. Oops, I forgot. We're back before it comes to a boil. But I want to make sure you want to bring it to a boil uncovered. You don't want this to cover and it come to a boil. So again, we started with cold water, put our potatoes in. We've got about a half an inch of water above about an inch of water above the potatoes, and we'll put it on to boil uncovered. All right, we'll be back when it boils. Okay, everybody knows what a boil is, okay? But I just want to emphasize the fact it's very important that you bring it back to a full boil, or bring it to a full boil. Okay, so at this point we're going to turn it down a bit. On my little induction cooktop here, that's probably about medium-high. And then we're going to let those, slightly more than a simmer. You don't want it to boil over. If you've got a couple bubbles, that's good. And that's probably going to take about 10 minutes. All right, we want them fork tender. So as soon as that happens, we'll come back and we'll finish up our mashed sweet potatoes. Okay, it's been just about 20 minutes. Let's give our little delicious sweet potatoes a try. I like to kind of try find the biggest one. That looks pretty good. And that is fork tender. All right, those are good. So our next step, we're going to shut that off, and we're going to drain these. All right, I'm going to use that pot, so get those drained well. All right, sweet potatoes don't absorb quite as much water as regular white potatoes, so it's not 100% necessary, I should say, to dry those off over the heat. It looks to me like I got a pretty good amount of the water out of there. So, all right, our next step is we're going to get our nice melted butter in here. So that's 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Do you have to melt it? I don't know, probably not. My mother always melted it, so I guess the idea behind it is that you're not cooling it down by putting in cold butter. And I'm just mashing them. Of course, you can mash them to the point that you like. I like for these particular mashed ones with the cream and stuff in it. I like them to be a little on the creamy side. I like them to have the consistency of regular white mashed potatoes. Now, of course, it is Thanksgiving, so if you wanted to add a little bit of cinnamon or a little bit of nutmeg, now would be the time to do it. Of course, with both of those, be careful because, nutmeg and cinnamon, you can take it over the top really quick. So if I were you, I'd put them in a little bit of at a time and then taste and see where you like it. We got our salt, our pepper, and our granulated garlic. Let's throw that in. We might as well get our chives in there, or scallions, green onions, whatever you want to call them. Then I like to take a whisk, and because at this point they're just about nice where I want them. I don't want them to get any more smushed. Okay, that's perfect. Then we're going to take our cream, our milk, or half and half I've got here, and you want to start to pour that in slowly, a little bit at a time. Give it a stir. Like I've said before, mashed potatoes, this kind of sweet potatoes, I want them to come out the exact same because that's the way I make them. So I always use the same measurements of stuff. Again, that's my personal preference just over the years, cooking many Thanksgiving dinners. That's kind of what I have found my family enjoys. They smell delicious. Yep, and I think we'll give them that last little bit. Mmm, creamy mashed sweet potatoes. Okay, guys, of course, I'm going to give them a little taste. It's perfect. I think there's enough salt in there. Nobody should have to add salt and pepper at the table, but if they want a little bit more salty, put a salt and pepper shaker out there. But to me, they taste perfect. All right, let's see. That's a little hot. I'm going to grab a pot holder. And now, at this point, go ahead if you are cooking these for a big dinner and everything isn't quite ready. Certainly throw a cover on here, throw some tin foil on top or a cover, and certainly if you've taken your turkey out of the oven this point, it's going to rest for about 20 minutes anyway. You could throw this back in, put your stove at maybe 200, 225, and these will keep really nice in the oven for you. So again, this should be enough about between 4 and 6 people, depending upon how many other fixings you're having, of course. And usually most of us, Thanksgiving, we're going to have squash and so on the table as well. Maybe put a little dollop of butter on there for artistic reasons, and there you have it. Sweet mashed potatoes. Okay, we're back. We're going to try 2 things today. We're going to try our mashed sweet potatoes and our Delgado squash because we've kind of made both of these today as, something you might want to cook for Thanksgiving. So, what do you want to try first?
Yep. Well, mashed potatoes.
Start with the mashed potatoes, all right? Sweet mashed potatoes with there's a little bit of
that smells good.
scallion in that.
That's really delicious.
Those are delicious, really. If I do say so myself. Unfortunately, these are not vegan or vegetarian because there is milk and butter in them, but they're delicious.
Oh wow, good.
All right, and try your Delgado squash. Now, the Delgado squash is not only vegetarian but vegan. It's 100% veggies.
Oh, those are good too.
Those are delicious.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that you watch both of these videos, and I hope that you have enjoyed watching us as much as we've enjoyed making this for you. And that's all I got to say.
Please subscribe, like, and check us out on cherryhillhomecooking.com.
Ciao.
Bye. Really good.
The Delgado squash is delicious.
Mm-hmm.